to start today's story with a question. How often do you worry about the safety of your children? Do you know where and with whom your children are now? Nowadays, every parent tries to keep a special connection with their child. Even if your child is an adult, your heart and thoughts are always with your children. The story I want to tell you today is about such a real bond between parent and child. But unfortunately, there are people on Earth who break that bond. But more about that. This story takes place in a small town called Pembroke in southwest Wales. It took place in the year 2021. That is, not much time has passed. On December 17th, around 4 a.m., the emergency service received a call from a local resident who was scared out of her wits. The woman reported finding a woman's body in Millpond, a 2-mile-long freshwater reservoir near the town. After arriving on the scene, paramedics began resuscitation efforts. All signs pointed to the fact that the girl was in the pond recently, and there was a chance to save her. But all attempts were unsuccessful. The doctors pronounced her dead. She was stripped to the waist, face down in the water. The version of an accident was almost immediately ruled out. Medical experts found traces of strangulation on her neck. There were scratches and bruises on her face and hands. That is, it said that the girl resisted and tried to save herself with all her might. But the expertise confirmed that the girl was strangled, and then someone cold-bloodedly pushed her body into the pond. She had no personal belongings with her. On the shore, the police found a dry lace top, which indicated that it was removed before the girl was in the water. The rest of the things were found with the help of a service dog, which took the trail and led the police to the alley, which was 120 meters from the place where the body was found. There, and found a jacket and a cell phone. The identity of the girl was established. She turned out to be 18-year-old girl Lily Sullivan. An innocent child for her mother, but in the eyes of men, a young, blossoming, beautiful young girl who was just about to enter an independent life. Lily was the only and very welcome child to her mother, Anna Sullivan, who had previously had 14 miscarriages. Giving birth to a healthy baby was a miracle. They had a special bond, a trusting relationship. The mother herself said that she had already resigned herself to the fact that she would never have children, and when Lily was born, she was insanely happy. Her daughter gave her the true purpose and meaning of life. Lily lived with her family in the suburbs of Pembroke. Friends and acquaintances described her as a cheerful, sweet girl, a true friend who at any moment would come to the rescue, support in word and deed. She always saw only good in people, but only to herself treated with great criticism. Lily was an excellent artist. She was a creative person who treated her work with special criticism. She also drew sketches of tattoos, loved bright makeup, was a volunteer in various charity projects. She was always trying to help others. Lily grew up to be a wonderful person. At 17, she entered her first year of college, and despite her creative work, Lily started working part-time in the evenings at the supermarket, despite being an only and favorite child. At the beginning of December, she turned 18. In the eyes of society, this was a beautiful, self-sufficient young girl who had already reached the age of independence, the time when relationships with guys, love, going out, partying usually begin. So Lily started going to parties in clubs and pubs with her friends after she reached the age of majority. On the evening of December 16, 2021, Lily's mother, Anna Sullivan, drove her daughter and her friends to a pub called The Castle, where a Christmas party was being held. The evening at the pub was going in the best way possible. So after the pub, the girls decided to continue the wonderful evening and go dancing in a nightclub. There, Lily was approached to meet 31-year-old Haines, who was also spending that night with friends. Lewis was a cricket player who many people knew in this area of town, and in particular at this nightclub, Out, where he had been partying all night. At about 11 o'clock at night, Lily and Lewis were seen kissing in the club. At that moment, they were seen by one of Haines's friends, who took Lewis aside and told him not to forget that he had a girlfriend and a young child waiting for him at home. But these words of his friend did not stop Lewis, and he continued to socialize with her. Lily, a young girl who has just reached adulthood, and a man who is 31 years old in spite of his wife and small child, who decided to take advantage of the young girl. Close to midnight, Lily called her mother and asked her to pick her up in a couple hours. They agreed to meet in a parking lot near the club. At 1:55 a.m., Lily left the club. Lewis followed on the pretext of seeing her off. Lewis's friend was standing outside the club. He shouted after her, "I remind you that you have a girlfriend and a young daughter waiting for you at home, and she's only 18. Hearing these words, of course, Lily immediately made a decision for herself, but Lewis did not react in any way and continued to follow the girl. Then Lewis and Lily went to an unlit alley near Pembroke Castle, which overlooked Mill Pond. There, Lewis tried to kiss the girl again, but Lily thwarted his attempt as she heard her friend's phrase regarding the girl and the baby. She immediately decided to go to the parking lot, where her mother was waiting for her in the car. At 2:15 a.m., Anna Sullivan called her daughter and informed her that she was waiting at the appointed place. Lily replied that she was a couple minutes away and would be there shortly. She was still on the phone with her mother when suddenly the connection was cut off. Lily's unsuspecting mother waited for her daughter in the car, but her motherly heart sensed something bad. At that moment, Lewis realized that the night was not going to go the way he had planned, and he wasn't going to get what he wanted the good way. Kissing her at the club wasn't enough, and he wanted more. Lewis didn't want to let her go. He started grabbing the girl's arms and tried to forcibly remove her lace top. Then Lily pushed the intrusive man away and threatened that she would accuse him of rape if he didn't stop, and said that his daughter would be ashamed of such a father. These words enraged the drunken Lewis, as he was in the process of gathering documents for the court to establish custody of his daughter, and attention from the police to his person would ruin all plans. That's when he punched Lily in the face several times. He was a grown man with incredible physical strength compared to the fragile girl. Lewis had no trouble taking Lily to the ground. With his aggression, he began choking her, and when she stopped resisting, pushed her into the pond. Around this time, a resident of the neighborhood said he heard a woman screaming, which soon stopped. Anna tried calling her daughter about 30 times, but was unsuccessful. She never picked up the phone again. Further, as police searched for evidence, they saw on one of the alleyway's CCTV footage how the display on Lily's phone lit up repeatedly as her mother tried to contact her. Later, reviewing CCTV footage, investigators saw Lewis and Lily walking together down the alley, and at 3 hours and 8 minutes, another camera captured Lewis appearing on the bridge, but alone. The footage clearly shows him first just walking and then starting to run. A couple minutes later, at 3 hours and 10 minutes, the killer was captured by another camera, which is located at the gas station, where Anna Sullivan was waiting for her daughter. All this time, Anna had been trying to reach Lily. She began to get very anxious and desperately searched for her with her eyes. That's how she met her eyes with the killer of her beloved daughter. Passing Anna's car, Lewis Haines looked her directly in the eyes, after which he began to behave inappropriately. He heard the conversation between Lily and her mother, where they discussed the place and time of the meeting, and realized that he was most likely looking into the eyes of his victim's mother. He began waving his arms and shaking his head. To Anna, the stranger's behavior seemed very strange. At that moment, the mother could not even imagine that just a few minutes ago, this nocturnal stranger had taken the life of her only daughter. Lewis came home at about 3:40 a.m. in wet clothes. There were deep scratches on his arms. He was hysterical, woke up his girlfriend, and began begging to be taken to the house where his parents lived. Lewis was so persistent that the girl had no choice but to comply with his request. So he tried to escape sooner after he realized what he had done. The girl didn't realize what was going on. On the way, he uttered the phrase, "I think she's dead," which raised more questions. At 6 a.m., December 17th, police officers arrested Lewis at his parents' home. The police were called by Lewis's father. As they led him out, He asked himself hysterically, "What the hell have I done?" On December 20th, 2021, Lewis Haines was charged with murder. Because of overwhelming evidence, he pleaded guilty to the murder of Lily Sullivan, but denied that he committed this sexually motivated crime. He said he killed Lily Sullivan because she threatened to report him to the police for rape if he continued to harass her. According to Lewis, he had a fit of aggression. He strangled Lily and pushed her into a pond. And when he calmed down, realizing what he had done, he went into the pond to reach her and render aid. But when he realized Lily was showing no signs of life, he fled. The court and state prosecutors did not believe his words. The judge said, if Lewis went into the water, it was only to make sure she was dead, not to try and save her. He had his phone with him, but no calls were made to emergency services that night. The cameras also showed he did not ask passers-by for help, but headed straight home. Before sentencing, Anna, whose meaning of life was lost, said she made a terrible mistake that night. She should have gotten out of the car and gone to meet Lily after the connection was broken, because then there would have been a chance to save her daughter. She was horrified to realize she could have saved her child. A month before Lily's murder, Anna Sullivan had a heart attack and her daughter saved her life. She quickly identified the dangerous condition and administered first aid before paramedics arrived. She also said that after her daughter's death, she started suffering from panic attacks and stopped fearing death because it was the only way in another world that she would be able to meet her child again. She called Lewis Haines pure evil, who, because of his base instincts, destroyed several destinies in one moment. It is also horrible that Lewis himself is a parent of a daughter, but because he wanted to satisfy his sexual desire and could not control his aggression, he took the life of an innocent girl. On August 21st, 2022, court sentenced Lewis Haines to life imprisonment with the right to seek parole after 23 years and 4 months. So, in 2044, the killer could be free again. Unfortunately, this story confirms our fears. We live in a 21st century time when we already have phones for fast communication, internet, and other technologies and applications that are supposed to keep users safe. But even that didn't help Lily save herself. And such crimes happen every day in our world, and it usually ends in a terrible way. Do you think it is possible to secure and stop such crimes? Share your opinions in the comments. Thanks for watching and for being with us. Take care of yourself and your loved ones.